Hello and welcome to Child Protection and Safeguarding Training here at Brentford School for Girls. Safeguarding and Child Protection Training is presented by myself, Angela Stone. I am the Child Protection Officer, sometimes known as the DDSL, the Deputy Designated Safeguarding Lead. Here at Brentford School for Girls, we have me, as I said before, as the Child Protection Officer or DDSL, and my line manager is Devisha Singh, who is the Designated Safeguarding Lead, the DSL, and Devisha is also head of school. The Designated Safeguarding Lead is a senior member of staff from the leadership team who takes lead responsibility for safeguarding and child protection. The Deputy Designated Safeguarding Lead is deputised to deal with the day-to-day elements of safeguarding. It's vital that we all understand the session agreements for today, so I would ask that we respect each other and our individual experiences, that we keep any personal matters shared today private unless by doing so will be detrimental to a child. Be sensitive talking about our professional experiences, as the subject often raises personal as well as professional issues for ourselves and each other. It's important that you familiarise yourself with the school policies, and they can all be found on the staff shared N drive. It is a requirement that you look at these and familiarise yourself with them, but any questions or concerns, please contact myself or Devisha in the first instance. The things that staff must know: the safeguarding policy, the behaviour policy, the staff code of conduct policy, safe working practice, and the role of DDSL and DSL. Confidentiality is paramount, and the majority of cases we will deal with arise from our knowledge of the children and out of observations. So basically it's a triage system. Often children will present in very small different ways that when we put that information together, it may raise a concern, it may not, but the triage system is a very good way to identify any issues. And it enables us to build a picture over time that might constitute a child protection concern. Another aspect of our work is dealing with disclosures when children tell us about something. So what does safeguarding mean? Ofsted defines safeguarding as safeguarding children in educational settings, which includes the focus on protecting children from harm by adults, but goes beyond it to cover other functions such as promoting good attendance at school, ensuring positive and safe behaviour and eliminating bullying and other forms of harassment, providing support for children with emotional and social difficulties, minimising exclusions, improving security on school sites, health and safety for in-school and out-of-school activities. Child protection is a part of safeguarding and promoting the welfare of children. It is an activity undertaken to protect specific children who are suffering or at risk of suffering significant harm. Where a child is suffering significant harm or is likely to do so, action should be taken to protect that child. Action should be taken to promote the welfare of a child in need of additional support, even if they're not suffering harm or at immediate risk. So what is abuse? Abuse is a form of maltreatment of a child. Somebody may abuse or neglect a child by inflicting harm or by failing to act to prevent harm. Children may be abused in a family or in an institutional or community setting by those known to them, or more rarely by others. They may be abused by an adult or adults or another child or children. When children are referred to social care and an investigation has been completed and it has been deemed fit to escalate the case to child protection, then social care will want to identify a category. There are 4 categories: neglect, emotional, physical and sexual. So each child protection plan will be under one of those headings, and it's about what can be stopped now and what can be helped to support the child in the future. Keeping Children Safe in Education, KCSIE, is a document produced by the government which schools have to adhere to, and it outlines all the safeguarding procedures and any updates yearly, which we will train staff on. We have safeguarding training every term, and in September we always produce the updates and we present the updates from the Keeping Children Safe in Education document. But many of the things that you are seeing on the screen now are areas that we do have issues with in school. They are areas that we have dealt with children for these particular headings. And if there's any there that you're not sure about, please don't hesitate to contact me. I will go over some of the acronyms. CME, Child Missing Education. CSE is Child Sexual Exploitation. CSAFE is Child Sexual Abuse in a Familial Environment. CCE, child criminal exploitation. SEND, special educational need and disabilities. LAC, which is a looked after child, a child that's in care. EHCP is an educational healthcare plan for children with SEN. VAWG, violence against women and girls. C-SAFE, which we've talked about, sexual abuse in a familial environment. And PLAC, previously looked after children. So what stops children from telling us? They worry about being blamed. They'll often put themselves in a situation where they think they've encouraged the behaviour that is being perpetrated against them. They are threatened with fear or treats. They're offered treats, or if you don't tell, I will get you this, and if you do tell, I'm going to hurt somebody, for example. They're aware of the implications. Children often, I've learned over the years, the biggest fear they have is being taken away from their family, but also the consequences of their family finding out they've told somebody something. And that's a real problem, real barrier for some children in telling us what their problems are or what their concerns are. Lack of communication or vocab, so they don't know the words, they don't know what's been done to them, they don't know how to explain it. They don't recognise the experience as abuse. It could just be normalised within the family. They don't trust anyone. They've told somebody before, for example, and nothing's happened, or they've told someone before and it's been awful when they've got home. They often feel responsible. They go through a gambit of emotions, children, and from being blamed, they'll then feel responsible. They'll think that they did something to encourage this behaviour, or they don't have the opportunity to be heard. Or we have a very good safeguarding process here at Brentford School for Girls and a safeguarding culture. So the children do know who to speak to and who to talk to, and they do build relationships up with their form tutors, with their heads of year, with other members of staff, so they do know where to go. But sometimes the barriers can far outweigh the risk of telling somebody. Students with increased vulnerability, those that are looked after, those excluded from mainstream school, experimenting with drugs and alcohol, those with a history of childhood abuse, those with parents who misuse drugs and alcohol, those who've experienced or watched domestic violence, parents who are experiencing mental health issues, young carers, and obviously COVID-19. FGM, female genital mutilation, is the partial or total removal of the female genitalia for cultural or other non-therapeutic reasons. It is child abuse, it is illegal in the United Kingdom, and it is a form of violence against women and girls. It's mandatory since October 2015 for any and all professionals to report suspected cases of FGM to the police. If you suspect that a student will undergo or has gone FGM, it's your responsibility to report it to the police after informing the DSL or DDSL. It will be dealt with as part of our existing safeguarding procedures. My advice to you would be contact myself or Davisha in the first instance, and we will direct you on the correct pathway in order to report this. Things that need immediate action: physical chastisement, fear of a parent, sibling, another, disclosure involving honour-based violence. So if you fear for the safety of a child has come to you and said, "Sir, miss, I'm frightened to go home because of whatever reason," then you need to report it immediately. You don't let the child leave, especially if it's at the end of the day. You hold on to them until you get a message to myself or Davisha, even if that means that you have to send a child to us, or you leave your room to go next door to tell somebody that you need to get a message to myself or Davisha. If you do need to leave the room, then please notify someone you're leaving, and maybe they'll cover the room for you. If you can't leave the room, then ask a child to come and send the message for you. So if you see or hear something that concerns you, don't ignore it. Make a mental note if you can. I think the quickest way is an email, just a few lines of any concern. That also then starts the paper process, the reporting process, if you have noted it in an email to myself or Davisha. Speak to us if you can, and we will decide the best course of action, and you just keep a watchful eye. So what should you do if the issue is non-urgent? So i.e. a child is crying, they're unusually quiet, they seem sad, etc. Please refer these to form tutor and head of year in the first instance. You may be able to speak to the child to find out what's wrong. Please do so. Don't worry about speaking to them. It could just be they haven't done their homework, or it could be they've fallen out with their friend. It could be something to us which is minor, but to them is huge. But again, if you do think it's serious, please follow the BSFG safeguarding procedures. We do have a duty to refer where abuse is known to have occurred or is suspected. We don't have the right or responsibility to withhold information or to respect a child or young person's wish for confidentiality. Not all concerns can be classed as CP issues. A referral may not be appropriate, but if a concern relates to actual or possible abuse, you must pass the concern on. If you're unsure, play safe, ask for advice, but do not wait until the next day. Allowing children to talk and dealing with disclosures, some helpful ideas. I think it's important that we all kind of know what to say really, because it can be a difficult and tricky conversation. But take what you are being told seriously. Listen carefully, do not interrupt them. Acknowledge what you've been told, remain calm, reassure them, tell them they've done the right thing, tell them you'll have to pass the information on and who you'll be telling and why, and pass them on to myself or Davisha in writing, as we said in an email, is sufficient. You don't investigate it, you don't look shocked or distasteful, you don't probe or ask questions, you don't speculate, and you don't pass an opinion on about the alleged perpetrator. You don't make negative comments, you do not promise to keep it a secret. That's something that's really difficult. Sometimes when you know a child wants to tell you something, the first thing they'll say is, please don't tell anyone. You can't promise that, and you must make that very clear to them. You don't display disbelief, and you never delay getting help. I think I should act now, question mark, question mark, question mark. So what might stop you? What if you're wrong? Well, you can't be wrong. It's never wrong. And I think, again, this comes back to triaging information. And even if it is incorrect, it's not important. As long as you've done your duty, then we've got enough information and we can then make a decision on how we move forward. You don't know the child very well. Again, irrelevant. If you have a concern, you raise it. I've reported it before and had a bad experience. Well, hopefully that won't happen here. I do not know who to talk to. And again, I think I've said many times who you do report to. But if you can't remember or you suddenly have a block, then please just refer to head of year in the first instance and they will direct you on where to go. It's not your job, it is your job. Someone else will pass it on. They may be thinking that you're going to pass it on. So we can't rely on that. I don't care if we get 12 notifications for the same concern or one notification, but we need to get the notification. You'll do it tomorrow. It can't wait till tomorrow. If you have a genuine concern, you need to pass it on immediately or as quickly as you can. I have not got the time. Unfortunately, we have to make the time. It doesn't happen to families here. It does. It happens a lot. It's happening more and more, and we need to be ever mindful that this can go on, and it does go on. Over-identifying with the parent or carer. If you do have a relationship with the parent or carer, that's okay, and that shouldn't impact your decision on to pass on any information. But you do not address the parent or carer with this concern. We'll do that. Someone else may already know this. Well, they might, but they might not. So again, you need to pass it on. Why will you do that? Why will you pass it on? Because at this school we do take safeguarding seriously, and we've got an excellent safeguarding culture. You know the school procedures, you know who to pass it on to, you know what's expected of you. It is your responsibility. It is serious and important. Children spend more time in school than any other place. In every meeting I attend, in every outside agency that gets involved with us, they always, always, always tell us that school is the biggest protective factor for these children. Hence why holidays and summer holidays and Easter holidays, etc., are a really tricky time for some of them. But school is the biggest protective factor. They're here more than they're at home. After parents, school staff are often the next adults a child will respond to. The indicators of abuse are present. Abuse investigations often highlight a failure to act. School procedures. So this is about you. When might you be vulnerable and why? So you might be vulnerable when you're alone with a child, when you're administering first aid. You shouldn't have to administer first aid. Every building has a first aider. If you have a concern for first aid, then you can send a student to wellbeing to Mrs. Davis, and she will come to your room. Restraining a child. Do not touch the children, the young people. If you have to restrain a child, it should only be in extreme circumstances, i.e. they're going to throw themselves out of a window. But even then you would stand in front of the window. And that is an extreme example, but please do not touch the children. Do not do anything with them that may constitute you being vulnerable. When a child seeks affection, same thing. Do not reciprocate that, do not give any affection back, do not allow it. Providing intimate personal care, that's not applicable to us. When you're unclear about guidelines and/or procedures, when you fail to report or see advice, poor lines of communication, or when you fail to record things. We do have a whistleblowing policy here at school. Your concern will be taken seriously and acknowledged in writing. The school will make every effort to protect staff who make reports in good faith. The source of the report remains confidential unless a legal process ensues. A senior member of staff will act as the link person for the reporter, and that will be any member of the leadership team. The reporter will be notified of the outcome subject to confidentiality constraints. Where a staff member feels unable to raise an issue with their employer or feels their genuine concerns are not being addressed, they can contact the NSPCC Whistleblowing Helpline or call 0800 028 0285 or email help@nspcc.org.uk. So support for staff who are the subject of an allegation of abuse. The head teacher or chair of governors, if the head is the subject of the allegation, will nominate a senior member of staff to act as the link person, and as said previously, that will be a member of the leadership team. A friend or advisor may attend any meeting about the allegation. Staff are advised to contact their union. Advice about welfare support, employee assistance and counselling will be provided if requested. Alternatives to suspensions will be considered. Unnecessary delays will be avoided. Staff who remain in or return to school following an investigation will be supported in their professional role. Concerns regarding the head teacher should be reported to the Chair of Governors, Miss Terry George, whose email is tgeorge@brentford.hounslow.sch.uk. Safe working practice, and this is for all of us who work in this environment in this school. Your behaviour should be open and transparent. You must adopt high standards of personal conduct. Your behaviour in or out of school must not compromise your position within the school. Avoid being alone with a student behind a closed, windowless door. Never give an individual student a gift that is not part of the rewards policy. Never give your personal mobile number or personal email address to a student. And be aware of the dangers of social networking sites. Ensure your privacy settings are set and do not communicate with any student via these sites. So if any of them do try and contact you via social media, don't acknowledge it, don't respond to it. You just let myself or Division know the following day and we will deal with it. Do not answer it, do not communicate with them. The only way that students should be communicating with you is via the school email, and it should be about school work. Allegations, concerns against staff. So if allegations are made against or concerns raised in relation to teachers, including supply teachers, other staff, volunteers and contractors, the guidance now has two sections covering the two levels of allegation or concern. The allegations that may meet the harms threshold. This section covers allegations or concerns that meet the threshold for harm and remains largely unchanged from the previous guidance. The concerns that do not meet the harms threshold, so is a low-level concern, which does not mean it's insignificant. If any concern, no matter how small, and even if no more than causing a sense of unease or a nagging doubt that an adult working in or on behalf of the school may have acted in a way that is inconsistent with staff code of conduct, including inappropriate conduct outside of work, does not meet the allegations threshold, or is otherwise not considered serious enough to consider a referral to the LADO, the local authority designated officer, then you must report it to the head of school. The head of school is Devisha Singh and principal head is Murray Linders. If you have a concern about any member of staff, you report to them in the first instance. Please do not discuss with anyone else. Please do not email anyone else. You go straight to them if you have any low-level concern about any staff member. We do have a good safeguarding culture here at Brentford School for Girls. We have a way of working that ensures young people are at the centre of the decisions we make, and that safeguarding is as much about the promotion of welfare as well as protection from harm. Promotion of welfare is including creating an environment and or taking action to enable young people to have the best outcome. And protection from harm is to prevent or intervene when young people have or are experiencing something harmful to them. This commonly refers to different types of abuse or neglect. Lastly, registers. Please make sure if you are taking registers that they are accurate. They must be accurate. If you are new to the school and you don't know the students, please make sure that when you call their name, you are looking at them when they answer you. They have to be submitted in a timely manner. We've recently had a number of incidences whereby students have been registered incorrectly, causing major safeguarding concerns. It is vital that we have an accurate record of attendance. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, astone@brentford.hounslow.sch.uk, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can.